Hi, I'm Mario Guerra, the two-time former mayor of the great city of Downey, and you're listening to Talkie California. Hi, folks. I hope this finds you well. This week in the mail, we received our sample ballot for a special election called by Governor Newsom for November 4th. It's just in a few weeks you will have the opportunity to vote on a proposition named Prop 50. It's the only thing on this special election, and it will cost us, the taxpayers, over $250 million. Over $250 million. It was rushed to a vote by the governor, by Governor Newsom, in the supermajority Democratic legislation last month. So let me tell you what it does. Prop 50 will nullify a citizens' initiative that requires an independent redistricting commission to draw election districts in a strictly nonpartisan manner. Prop 50 takes the redistricting power away from the citizens and gives that power back to the politicians so they can manipulate the lines of election districts for their own personal and political benefit. When I was president of Independent Cities Association, representing 53 cities in LA County and over 5 million people, our board unanimously voted back then to support and endorse the redistricting amendment that changed our Constitution to be able to give that power to a citizens committee. We passed it in 2010 for congressional districts overwhelmingly, and I'm real proud of that. It's a great governance model for the rest of the country. And as proof of how corrupt this, for Governor Newsom and California politicians are on this issue, Prop 50 even has a false title. Deceptively suggests voters that a yes vote would keep independent citizens redistricting commission, when in fact a yes vote eliminates the citizens from the process and hands that power back to the politicians. It's also ironic, I'll give you the last line on here, where it says the fiscal impact, a one-time cost to counties of up to a few $1 million statewide to update election materials and reflect congressional district. A few $1 million, I'm not sure how 200 and some odd million is only a few, but lying on the ballot is shameful, and we must warn voters, and that's what I wanted to talk about today. Why Governor Newsom and California politicians say that this is a response to President Trump and the Texas redistricting. The truth is California politicians have always opposed independent citizens redistricting commission that was imposed on them in 2010. Again, overwhelmingly passed by the voters. So now they're using hatred of President Trump as the excuse and as the window dressing to fool you, the voters, and me into grabbing this power back from the people. So politicians get to manipulate their lines again. And I'm going to go into that a little bit here. So the top 5 reasons, in my opinion, to vote no on Prop 50. Number 1, it's easy. It allows politicians to seize the power back from the citizens. It hands the power back to politicians and takes the system, if you will, and makes it for their own cronies and guaranteeing their reelection. So to me, that's not democracy. That's kind of entrenchment is. Number 2, it permits backroom deals and eliminates public input and transparency by taking that redistricting out of the public square, where more than 35,000 Californians participated in the last redistricting cycle, and it hands it to politicians behind closed doors. Number 3, it eliminates fair and competitive districts. It allows gerrymandering, which disproportionately harms community of color and reduces competitive elections. And it also, it erodes accountability and stops the constitutional protection that we currently have. So 4, it's not temporary. It will be permanent. Even if temporarily killing off a piece of democracy sets a dangerous precedent that could be used by future politicians to undermine constitutional safeguards, if you will. And we know how things, when politicians say that things are temporary, remember the gas tax, remember all these different things that they promised were temporary. So, number 5, dishonest ballot title. Prop 30 is deceptively worded to suggest that voters that a yes vote would keep the citizens' redistricting process, when in fact a yes vote eliminates the citizens from the process and hands completely the power. It hands the power completely back to politicians. So you might answer, what about the answer to, what about Texas? Gerrymandering, what they're doing. So gerrymandering districts by politicians is never okay, whether it's here or Texas or anywhere else. We believe that Texas and all states should adopt California's citizens' independent redistricting model. And as a matter of fact, many states are. That redistricting model has proven to be effective in a good form of governance. But Governor Newsom is using Texas as a window dressing to give politicians what they always wanted, back to control of redistricting, so they can gerrymander and the way things are, and that they will end fair elections in our state. No on Prop 50, Governor Newsom's power. It's a power grab. For someone who claims to hate gerrymandering, Governor Newsom's undemocratic attempt to silence voters who disagree with him is pretty much the height of hypocrisy. And there's a lot of hypocritical things that are going on here. California's Citizens Redistricting Commission was approved by voters in 2010 to stop the self-interested type of gerrymandering, to ensuring that an independent commission would draw the state's congressional lines every 10 years instead of a partisan state legislature. The current maps, they're not perfect. Despite only 43% of voters calling themselves Democrats, they hold 83% of the state's congressional seats. And Governor Newsom's play would give Democrats an even more disproportionate share of more than 92%. These new maps will give Republican representation in the state's congressional delegation from Republicans to potentially just 3. And even if you're not a fan of Republicans, we're all recognize how bad this could be for all of us, how bad government, good governance is going away. So drawing district lines through an independent committee remains incredibly popular with California. Nearly 2/3, I think, of voters included 81% of Democrats and 72% of independents prefer California's congressional lines to be drawn by an independent commission instead of a state legislature. The special election that Governor Newsom is now forcing us is estimated to cost taxpayers more than $200 million. Okay, we're here. We can't do anything about it, but we can send a strong message that we like things the way they are. At a time when the state is facing a $20 billion deficit, $20 billion with a big B, and following a budget with big cuts to health care, public safety, and emergency services, we're spending time and money playing national politics, which has really nothing to do with the state of California. Newsom and Sacramento's supermajorities are pushing this costly special election that voters don't want to deflect from their own failures, addressing California's real problems. Cost of living crisis, rampant homelessness, raging wildfires, and one of the nation's highest unemployment rates, to name a few. See, I think that voters, that we're far smarter than this, and the Sacramento gives us credit for. And we know that we're being used as a political pawn in a game that we didn't sign up to play. So, if you have more questions, there is a website, stop50.org. Okay, so that's one area that that you can go to, and it's supposed to be, it gives you the facts. Again, I've been asked, so what do you think about what's happening in Texas? Well, listen, folks, I'll leave Texas to Texans. Okay, California has its own voter-approved standard, and we should abide by it. It's not perfect. It's considered the gold standard, though, across the country. And we shouldn't abandon it when other states have literally tried to copy us and copy California in our own citizens redistrict. It's good governance, okay? And other people try to follow it. Each state sets its own rules. And in California, we decided that the lines would be drawn by an independent commission. And now we're trying to change that. So Governor Newsom's setting a terrible precedent by trying to throw out the will of the voters to put his own partisan spin and line in place and disenfranchise everyone who doesn't call themselves a Democrat. Aren't Governor Newsom and California Democrats, I'm asked, doing the same thing as Texans, Republicans, and trying to draw out political party lines from the maps? So the answer is no. See, Texas is revising their maps after the U.S. Department of Justice told them that they were in violation of the Voter Rights Act and the 14th Amendment. California is revising its maps to play partisan politics. That's all we're doing at this time. Texas's legislators are also responsible for drawing their own state lines. California's legislation is not. In fact, Newsom has to change the Constitution to even do that. That's what this is all about. So no matter how much Governor Newsom wants California to believe the situations are the same, it's not. It's not the same. It's not apples to apples. One state's trying to follow the law. The other one is rewriting the law to get what they want. And they're using politics to do it. Bottom line, California voters chose independence. Don't let it be stolen back by fake promises and anger with Washington politics. The Democratic Party, insiders rushed to create these maps behind closed doors and with almost to no public input. Essentially, the first time the public got to see these maps were on the way to the special election, long after any changes can be possible. And some of these maps are crazy. This is a binary proposition and a very complex decision that deserves more transparency, as we all know. Open meetings, public testimony, and serious analysis. They're all in open forums that facilitate debate and assessment, and we're not getting that, and that's one thing that we should have had the discussion. It was literally rushed. This is exactly what the California Citizens Commission was empowered to do, and that's exactly the power politicians are trying to take back from the voters. Saying that voters get to participate in a democratic process is lying, and it's saying something like what? Customers get to help make the dessert at a restaurant after the cake is already baked. So it's not apples to apples, and it's not something that is evenly distributed. So you might ask, why should independents in our state who don't consider themselves Democrats or Republicans, why should they care about this issue? And this is far from a Republican or Democratic fight. Californians who don't belong to either party make up nearly 30% of voters in the state. They are our state's moderates, independents, and swing voters who keep both major parties and their elected representatives accountable. This power grab kills competitive districts, turning California into one party and a complete echo chamber where dissension gets drowned out. It's bad for democracy. It's bad for diversity of thought. It's bad for California's independence. It's also moving the goal line, as you will. And as a former Governor Schwarzenegger just said just the other day, gerrymandering is the cancer of politics. And it really is. So who drew up these crazy maps? Right? Well, the new maps were drawn by a Democratic Party officials and party insiders, the DCCC, Paul Mitchell from PDI, to exclusively benefit one party. Voters in California are the biggest losers. And let me tell you how crazy some of these maps are. The maps, they split 57 cities 141 times. They split 28 counties 114 times. In one Orange County city, the district is literally split in the middle of the street. Yeah, you can't make this up, folks. This is really very partisan. And despite losing population in the last census, these maps give Los Angeles another congressional seat. It's a loss for the communities of the Inland Empire that have seen a lot of growth over the last decades. The map split AAIP communities and eastern Los Angeles County to diminish their influence in elections. And here's another crazy example. There's one proposed congressional district, I think it's District 2, that's bigger than some states. It stretches 430 miles from the Oregon and Nevada borders to the Golden Gate Bridge. Yes, 430 miles, if you can believe that. This is a number one priority for Governor Newsom's Sacramento politicians when they should be worrying about addressing and investing in the many problems that we have around the state that have gotten worse on their watch. Let me give you some numbers. Today, California has a $20 billion budget deficit. Yes, $20 billion. It has the nation's largest homeless population and nearly half of the nation's unsheltered population. It has the nation's highest poverty rate. It has the nation's second highest unemployment rate. It has the nation's second lowest literacy rates for adults. It has the nation's lowest migration ranking among U-Haul for the 5th straight year. It means people are moving out of the state the last 5 years in a row. It has the nation's highest gas prices and gas tank. And we have an active wildfire season, as you know. While many are impacted by this year's devastating fires in LA, and they're still awaiting navigating through government bureaucracy to rebuild. And this proposition is just bad. It's bad governance, and it's bad for the gerrymandering that's never good, whether it's in Texas or here. But we can do something about it. Please read it. I ask you to consider what it will do for our state in voting no on it. It's not very big, believe it or not, that's all it says. It's a very deceiving, short proposition, but it's going to change our state constitution, cost us a lot of money, and it's going to cost us a lot of pain. So, as always, I welcome your thoughts and comments. Feel free to call me on my cell phone at 562-706-4114. I really appreciate you watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments and exactly your particular thoughts, especially on Prop 50. But be informed. Make sure that you go through it and you understand what it is. It's not about politics. Excuse me. It actually is about politics, but it's not about national politics. It's not about Texas. A good friend of mine that's a Democrat the other day says, well, Texas started it. And I thought that was pretty crazy thing to say, but that's the talking points, if you will, on those that want it. Look at the TV ads. Look who's sponsoring a yes on it, okay? You'd be surprised. Why are certain unions and the California Teachers Union given tons of money? Why are they sponsoring this proposition? And it's because they get their people elected and they know that it's bad governance. But there's a whole bunch of different people that are talking that way. So anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to Talking California with Mayor Mario.